What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another very important AMC update to bring all of you this afternoon. So what we're going to be covering in this video is just a brief update on the price action. We're going to look at Ortex for the utilization and short interest numbers, but there's something really interesting happening that has to do with the option chain for AMC and why we are seeing the price action on this Monday that we are seeing. This is incredibly bullish in my opinion, and it is something that I really want everybody to understand. Now, in last night's live stream, everybody was asking me about this potential Amazon AMC partnership, merger, acquisition, whatever you want to call it. We're basically going to go through exactly what is going on here. Honestly, at this point, it doesn't seem legit at all, but we are going to go through and actually prove why these articles that are coming out are not very legitimate. Now, in addition to this, we also have a potential SEC crackdown. So we have a lot of really good things happening right now for AMC. We are starting to see this bullish run up, and at the current time that I'm recording, AMC is currently trading at $37.50, and we could honestly see by the end of the market hours today, us be trading at an even higher level. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So the current high of the day is $37.90. And when we come over to Ortex, we can see that the current short interest as estimated by Ortex is hanging out around this 18% range. We haven't seen that much of a change, and we are also seeing the utilization start to pick back up. So when we talk about the utilization, when it gets to those really high levels, and by high levels, I mean above 98 or 99%, that is when it puts a lot of pressure on not only the institutions that have taken out the loans for these shares to short, but the institutions that are lending these shares out. So we are seeing a lot of good things start to come in terms of the Ortex numbers, but let's get into this price action and just show why this is so awesome that we are seeing this run up today versus any other week. So when we come over to Stonko Tracker right here, there's 38,000 calls in the money at the current time for this weekly expiration date. Now, there's only 7,000 puts, and if you remember last week, we were talking about the potential for a gamma squeeze, and we did see a lot of these options run in the money, and most likely these institutions who sold those options had to go on the open market, buy shares in order to maintain that directionally neutral status. So in the event that a massive price movement to the upside happens, they don't get necessarily blown out of their position and take substantial losses. But when we come over to the option chain for this week for AMC, there's not really any crazy amount of open interest. So what that tells me right now is that the price action that we're seeing to the upside isn't really due to all of these institutions hedging the options that they've sold, but this is retail investors and potentially institutional investors piling in more and adding to their positions in AMC, which I see as an incredibly bullish sign for the next couple of weeks, months, and quarters that we are in this trade. Now, in addition to all of this increased retail and institutional sentiment that is driving the price higher today, we are also seeing some good fundamental news for AMC. AMC reopens the Grove and the Americana theaters with upgrades. Now, if you remember in the earnings call, Adam Aron was talking about these theaters as being some of the highest performing theaters that are out there on the market at the current time. So this is a really great sign for not only Q3, but going into Q4 for AMC's bottom line revenue. If these theaters are able to perform at their highest potential, we are going to continually see AMC's revenue and earnings numbers increase, which is just going to show us even further that the shorts really have no valid thesis for this trade. Now, let's get into this Amazon situation. So this is the article that everybody is citing. So when we come up here, we can see that this was released yesterday, August 22nd, 2021. According to sources close to Odeon Cinemas, who Amazon had actually acquired a couple of years back, there are expectations for Amazon to buy AMC outright in the coming months. Dates remain unclear, but there is one thing for certain. If a deal is reached, there will be no merger. Amazon will purchase AMC in its entirety, or there will be no agreement at all. Now, if if you look through this article, it's going to be a trust me bro source. And that is going to be a trend that we are going to be seeing with all of these announcements that we have seen in the past that Amazon was looking to buy AMC. So they can say here, we also know preliminary talks started again in June. Again, trust me, bro. Now we have sources, undisclosed sources that tell us negotiations have reopened again. Now, if these are such hush-hush sources, it's basically just Amazon buying AMC. This isn't something that you need to keep anonymous. If this was actually happening, we would see all of these sources start to come out. Now, when we come back to a couple of these other articles that we have seen in the past about Amazon potentially buying AMC, this came out February 18th, 2021. Movie theater chain AMC gains on recycled speculation of Amazon buyout. So this one that happened in February wasn't even the first time that we have seen this. Movie theater chain AMC gained 8.7% on this day in February after the circulation of Forbes story in French that speculated on potential Amazon acquisition of the company. Now, this basically has happened previously before. We saw this happen in May of 2020. AMC shares jumped 17% after sources say Amazon is circling the theater chain. Now, again, this wasn't even the first time. In 2018, Amazon considered buying Landmark Theaters, but lost out to the eventual buyer. So here's what we are seeing here. There have been a lot of times in the past where there have been rumors or speculation. Every single time it's been unconfirmed, and the source has been, trust me, bro, that AMC was looking to get acquired by Amazon. So the implications of this are really big if this was actually going to happen, which is why I see this getting a little bit blown out of proportion, because if Amazon were to buy AMC and these speculations were actually real, it would be a very solid squeeze catalyst, because when we think about a company buying another company, well, they would have to buy 100%. And when we're thinking about how many shares could potentially be out there for AMC at the current time, this would create a very, very interesting scenario in which Amazon would have to figure out exactly what they are buying. So I understand a lot of people want this to be factual information, but at the current time, we don't have a solid source in order to determine if Amazon is really looking into buying AMC. If it does happen in the future and we do get a comment from AMC or Amazon, that will be great news. But again, at the current time, this is essentially kind of fake news and false information being spread around with the information that we currently have. Now, let's get into this potential SEC crackdown. When we come over to Gary Gensler's Twitter, if someone asks a lawyer, accountant, or advisor if something is over the line, maybe it's time to take a step back from the line. Going right up to the edge of a rule or searching for some ambiguity in the text or a footnote may not be consistent with the law and its purpose. Here's where it gets a little bit interesting. This includes deceptive conduct by private funds, offering or accounting frauds, insider trading, market manipulation, failures to act in retail customers' best interest, most likely referring to payment for order flow, reporting violations, best execution, and fiduciary violations. So the spirit of the law is about protecting investors. Our rigorous enforcement regime at SEC Gov is about following the facts and the law wherever they may lead on behalf of investors and working families. As we have heard in the past, the SEC is not going to come out and directly say that they are investigating this AMC situation. And in my opinion, we wouldn't necessarily want that, because it's entirely possible if these institutions were tipped off that they were getting investigated, they could just bring out the shredders, make sure that they had no evidence that would be easily found, and be able to kick this can down the road even further. In my opinion, again, this is just what I think would be the best option. Any type of legal action going to be taken by the SEC or any other of these regulatory institutions is not really going to cause the squeeze. It is more going to punish the institutions after the squeeze happens, and to make sure a situation like this could never happen again. And in addition to this, we don't want the SEC rushing to a conclusion or to bringing a case on this situation. We want them to take their time, get all of the data that they can, and make sure that they can build a bulletproof case. Now, in addition to this, we do have one other thing we have to cover as well. I always try to give you guys a decent update on what's going on with the broad market. We've been talking about Goldman Sachs and Bank of America a lot over the past couple of weeks, and there are some more comments coming out from them as well, and other institutions as well. So we can see August 20th, 2021, Wall Street's top economists are concerned about the I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to say that on YouTube, so hopefully I don't get in trouble for having this on the screen. So What we're seeing here is that this week, Goldman Sachs economists slashed their forecast for Q3 GDP growth to 5.5% from 9%. This is showing us that they are expecting the economy to not grow at as high of a rate. We are seeing Wells Fargo reduce their Q3 GDP forecast to 6.8% from 8.8%. Bank of America did something similar, in which they reduced their growth forecast of 7% all the way down to 4.5%. Now, not all of them are worrying about this new illness coming into effect. We have a lot of other economic indicators that we need to keep a lookout for. One of them is happening this week at the Jackson Hole Symposium. The key thing that I think a lot of people are going to be looking for is these comments on Fed's tapering of asset purchases. When the first notification came out that the Fed could potentially be moving up the date in which they would consider tapering these asset purchases, the market really did not like that, had a slight drop. But again, with the state of the market right now, the retail sentiment in the options market, that dip was bought up right away. And again, we also have the debt ceiling situation, the potential real increase in margin calls surrounding these OTC derivatives, surrounding those initial margin requirements that we have talked about a lot on this channel. And it really just goes to show us that it is entirely possible that we do see a major market event happening at the end of Q3 or in Q4 of this year. But again, it is very hard to tell those things, and I'm going to be looking for confirmation before I enter into any trades to play a potential market downturn. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I'm trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.